Well, good afternoon and welcome to BBRC Britain and English. Well, Happy New Year! This is the first recording of the new year and it's very nice to see you again, and I do hope you're having a nice new year, even though we're, two-thirds of the way through January. Well, today there's a bit of a hodgepodge here, and I will put that on the screen, what that other alternative to that word, the synonyms in other words. But today I'm going to talk about a few subjects of variety and perhaps go back to some of the areas of confusion. You may remember a few months ago I did talk about some English confusion where it's confused with Americanisms, and there's a few other things that have cropped up. So without further ado, I'll talk about a few subjects and a few of the good, the bad and the ugly, as well of a plethora of subjects, but it won't last too long. So nice gentle start to the new year in terms of BBRC Britain and English. Well, you might have realised that the weather here doesn't get much better in the winter, and we're now through, well, coming through January. We're now, what, the 22nd of January, hoping it'll get reasonably mild up to the spring. And with our climate change and everything else, we've had reasonable winter, but quite cold at the moment. So that's England for you in 2022. Now, there's a few Americanisms, as I say, I'd like to correct. And one is, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. Americans tend to say, they're good, I'm good, and all that sort of thing. Well, actually, that's Americanism. It's not proper English. You're better off saying, if somebody says, how are you, for example, say, oh, I'm fine, thank you. I'm okay. But you can say, I would say, I'm fine. All right, thank you. That's another way of saying it. So, just to make sure that, you know, we get this correct, because I know some of you asked me these questions. And another one, which is another error, is some people might say, I'm going to the pub right now. Right now, I'm upset, or I need to go to bed right now. Well, actually, that's wrong. It should be, I'm not feeling so well at the moment. At the moment is a better way of speaking, okay? And you'll hear this on some, I know broadcasters do the same thing, make errors. I know some school teachers, etc., and those who take the English language seriously do actually hate this sort of thing. And now, another error, I know some of you talking about school and everything else. Well, some of you might have had good experience with your school teachers, some of you might have had bad, and when I say the good, bad, the ugly, I'm not talking about your ex-school teachers. In my case, most of them are retired, and certainly they're not all still alive. But if we just look at some of the things which may remind you of school years, smoking. Well, when I was at school, they were smoking at probably 11 or 12, the odd cigarette. Now, some were more regular smokers, probably when they were 15, 16, I suppose. But they were smoking mainly cigarettes, okay? And I'll give an example of a cigarette. When I'm talking about, that's a cigarette, and that's actually a menthol one. It's white, as you can well see there. Ordinary cigarette there, okay? A few more here as well. And to avoid any more confusion as well, so I know some of you have this confusion, those of you from abroad. I know a few Filipinos and Africans have this problem. So that's a cigarette, and usually you get a yellow tip on the end. This one's got a white one. But that is a cigar. And these tend to be bigger. Now you can get bigger ones, different. I think some of the varieties, the South American, Cuban varieties are a lot thicker and fatter, but that's an ordinary cigar. Okay, now these are smoked less frequently than cigarettes. Probably a bit more recreational thing with a drink, whereas cigarettes tend to be smoked a little bit more regularly. And so just to say that, the reason I say that is because I'm not condoning smoking, but sometimes in this country we do have this element of young people, teenagers and perhaps those in 20 smoking cannabis. Now that's totally illegal. It is sometimes grown illegally on a small scale in people's lofts, but don't forget, it is a lot stronger smell. It's not the ordinary plant. It's usually got chemicals in it, and it does smell the place out, and actually the police are clamping down on it. The large scale criminal fraternity, they actually grow it and distribute it more widely, and that's the underworld, totally illegal. Supply is totally illegal, so I wouldn't recommend trying that if you're here. Some people say, oh, won't mind having a cigarette with a drink. Well, a lot of people do that, but if you're with a group of people, bear in mind some of them might be smoking cannabis rather than the ordinary legal cigarettes. And like I say, various people smoke cigars. Once had I think there was a lecturer smoked cigar, the odd cigar, between certainly in the day at the local college. But certainly I wouldn't recommend smoking. Certainly if you're any of my younger listeners, anybody who's younger is listening to this, don't take up smoking at all. Certainly not in the drug fraternity. Anything to do with that is totally illegal, and it can lead to other things and the wrong types of people you'll be around. And certainly small scale can lead to something bigger. So I should be very careful who you're speaking to. Because I know you probably all had the odd cigarette, and you probably, Dad, your mum probably smoked a few cigars. But anyway, I would say all the paraphernalia that these people have in the roofs and everything else, police are clamping down on it, and it's totally illegal. So, and anybody who sees that sort of thing and knows somebody who's supplying it should actually report them confidentially, because it does wreck lives and it can lead to other stronger forms of drugs. So, but obviously that's totally different to the odd cigarette which people have with beer. But I would say don't drink too much either. So, but if you are younger, and I know a lot of you are from abroad, you won't be influenced by those types of people. But certainly I think Europe's got a problem with drugs in some ways, and so therefore they're using these a lot stronger than the odd cigarette. But other than that, people do enjoy a cigarette. There's a roll-up as well. That's roll-up. There's hand-rolling tobacco. Basically, it's rolling. You roll the tobacco up, and you put filter in. Some people enjoy a few of those, but also e-cigarettes now are quite popular, vaping, etc. So that's just about smoking. But I will say, which is what I was thinking about originally, with references to smoking. Now, so we said about cigarette, cigar, e-cigarette, which I don't have, which use the long-barreled things, and you see the clouds of vaping in front of you, more than the smoke normally. But a fag is a name for cigarette, okay? Now, in America, it has a different connotation, different meaning. It can mean a homosexual. But in this country, fag or tab is definitely linked to a cigarette, okay? A spliff is normally linked to a joint of cannabis. There's probably other street terms. There's other street terms known for the other drugs. If you want to know about those, in case somebody wants to offer you in any way, do look online for the street names of some certain drugs. But I would say keep well away from those types of people, because you won't normally meet them, but there are some people trying to supply these things, and even I've been offered cannabis and things which I've politely turned down. Now, moving on from all that, and what you might be tempted to do with your school peers, and those at school that rebelled, and the rebels who went out for their cigarette smoke and probably swore at the teacher and things, which can happen. We're trying to clamp down anything to do with county lines drug gangs, which they go from county to county, and they do prey on the innocent and vulnerable, under the pretenses that they're going to stay there and help them out, which of course they're not. They're just hoping to peddle their ill-gotten gains and their criminal activity in supplying drugs. So people say, going for a fag, that's a cigarette, not a cigar. Normally it's a cigarette. And tab, like I say. And but those in this country under 18 nowadays cannot smoke. So it's it used to be 16, now it's over 18s. So under 18s, please don't start smoking. I must say that, reiterate, because very important that you don't smoke, because it's not good for your health. And as you know, it's especially the illegal drug variety, and cannabis and all that sort of thing, which can lead to other things, and it's not good for anybody, especially the illegal drugs. Don't even try it is the best way with that. And I do hope that this helps you in some ways, and no doubt you will have been told some of this from your school teachers back when you're about 15, 16, with the sessions they usually give on contemporary moral issues, and I hope it helps you in any way. And well, basically, like I say, criminal gangs usually selling drugs in various ways. Sometimes it's small scale, sometimes it's not. But whatever it is, it's not good at all. And there's all sorts of things they'll do to avoid detection. So I just hope that this helps you, and keep well away from all that. And anybody visiting England, well, fine, hope you'll enjoy it. You might want to go around the pub and enjoy a few drinks. And because they've had a bad time in the last couple of years with the pandemic, and got some new, well, relaxes to the restriction next week as well. We won't have to wear masks, so it's changing next week. At the moment we're using them on the buses and everything else, so that, by the way, that's a lighter. Used for cigarette lighting or cigar lighting, but not e-cigarettes, of course. That's all, well, it's electronic, but certainly, or you use the old-fashioned matches. If you still use those, you can still buy them. You used to use them for lighting our cooker. Anyway, Happy New Year. Hope you enjoyed this short session. It's a bit of a hodgepodge on different things, but certainly a few Americans in there which crept into the English language, which I know some of you want to know the proper English. Chinese like to learn the proper English, and you from abroad who are trying to understand the correct English. Well, Happy New Year, like I say. Well, have a great one. And there'll be a session again coming up shortly, more focused, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.